Heads up, I had a minor audio issue that's affecting about 7 videos, and this is one of them. Back to normal soon. Welcome to rSlash, where an ex-girlfriend tries to sue OP for $100,000 in breakup payments. Our next Reddit post is from OK Combination. I found out that my girlfriend of 11 years was cheating on me with an unemployed dude, of all people. I'm not rich, but I provided her a good lifestyle, paid most of her bills, provided a nice place, nails and hair done regularly, dates every weekend, couple of vacations a year. She got used to that lifestyle and wanted to keep living it despite cheating with a broke dude. She didn't admit to the cheating. I caught on to it. Once it was clear that I was done with her, the entitlement really started to show. She said that because I had family in the area and she didn't, I should move out but continue paying the bills to give her and the new guy a chance to get on their feet. She also insisted on keeping my dogs and told me I could only see my own dogs if I asked the new guy. But since they didn't have any money, I needed to continue paying for food and vet bills. Instead, I kicked her out and kept my dogs. At this point, she was angry. She still felt entitled to my income. After I kicked her out of my place, she claimed she was forced to quit her job because I forced her to relocate. She then tried to sue me for lost wages, which did not work out in her favor. You'd think she would stop at this point, but she didn't. She contacted my work and threatened to sue them, stating, "Your employees' actions cost me everything," and tried to insist they settle outside of court with her for $100,000. To be clear, she did not make that much money. Instead, my work filed harassment charges against her. You'd think she would stop at that point, but she didn't. She started messaging every family member of mine that she could find. Told them I cost her everything out of spite just because she moved on with someone else. And that the least they could do is send her money to help her get a place and pay rent. When that didn't work, she went online and begged for people to send money to her Cash App to help her with a place to live, and claimed that it was a domestic violence situation. I don't understand how she doesn't understand that any financial support I gave her would end if she cheated on me. We weren't married, we don't have kids, I've supported her for years. I owe her nothing. I really don't owe it to her to help her and her new relationship get back on their feet and establish themselves. Which seems to come as a shock to her. Down in the comments, OP adds that she apparently put on weight and is claiming that she's pregnant with OP's kid, which OP doubts because after all, he was with her for 11 years and they never got pregnant once. So with a girl like this, I guess the drama never ends. Our next Reddit post is from Best Crispair. So tonight, an acquaintance I haven't spoken to in at least 5 years calls me. Marcus. Marcus did make a little chit chat, then they asked me what I'm doing for work. I say that I'm between full-time stuff right now, but I'm looking. Marcus agreed that the job market is hard, and how they're divesting themselves of a business that they've had for decades, as the suckers aren't buying anything anymore. I give a little laugh because that's a weird way to refer to clients, but maybe Marcus is a little down. They then mention about their home in New England and their home in the West Coast in a highly desirable area on the beach, and that they want to split the entire summer between the two locations because it's hot in the South in the summer. I say something along the lines of, "That's a heck of a problem to have," and we laugh again. That's when they drop their entitled request on me. They want someone to care for their extremely obese, nearly bed-bound elderly auntie that lives with them. 7 days a week, no days off for 3 months. The best part? This home isn't air-conditioned. They want to offer a fellow human $200 per week since it's light duty. But they say that I would have my own room. To be clear, I own a home, so that's of no interest to me. I explained that I was going to have to pass on this amazing offer, and Marcus got really insulted. He whined and said they didn't know anyone as nice as me. And since I was a flight attendant before this, I know the first aid and serving food stuff. Again, I declined and he was confused. I said, "Would you work for $200 a week? Because I won't." He said that he would call in a week to see if I changed my mind. I blocked him as soon as the call ended. So, okay, I've never cared for someone who's bedbound before, with the exception of my wife is sick and she's laying in the bed. But wouldn't that mean you would either have to pick them up and carry them to the toilet, and then clean them up and then carry them back, and also bathe them the same way? Or, I guess, clean the poop out of the bed? This doesn't seem like light duty. I don't even know if $200 a day is a good amount for this, let alone $200 a week. Our next Reddit post is from Visance. I work as an engineer. I do some consulting on the side, but typically only for people I know and as a favor. A good friend asked me to help his in-laws, who were doing some fairly massive renovations and additions. I agreed solely because he asked me to. This is not something I have any interest or need in doing except as a favor. It's an old house and had "can of worms" written all over it with some of the changes they wanted to do. Now, he warned me that the mother-in-law can be unpleasant, but that was an understatement. She seemed to think that because I was being paid, I charged probably 1/10 of what a business would, that she could snap her fingers at me like a servant. I had a few unpleasant emails with her, but it was tolerable. She was rude when I was pointing out issues with their plans, but nothing too extreme. That changed when I started trying to find a time for me to stop by and inspect a few areas of their house to verify some information. I offered times to stop by on the weekend, but that didn't work for her. I tried evening times, still a no. Nope, she wanted me to stop by during my office work hours because that was best for her. When I told her no, this gets done on the weekends or in the evening, she went from rude to incredibly hostile, telling me that she's paying me, lol, and that I work with her availability, not the other way around. I CC'd my friend on the chain, told them I was out, and to have fun working with whoever they got. My friend apologized. I said, "No worries, it's not my problem anymore." She emailed me back, quite stunned that I was walking away, telling me that's not how business is conducted. I didn't bother responding. About 3 weeks later, I got an email from the husband now asking me if I would reconsider, and he promises that his wife won't speak to me or be involved in any way. I hear from my friend that while the quotes came back much higher, which was tolerable for them, but it was how long the wait was. They just bought this house and wanted to move ASAP, but it's an incredibly busy time of the year for the industry. Turns out, when companies you reach out to are drowning in work and you have a potentially convoluted and messy project, they aren't chomping at the bit to get your business. So now they're going to lose the trades they lined up because design would be a month or two out. I passed on the request, as I struggled to believe that she would be kept in check, and I had no desire to bail her out. My friend didn't care, said that it was nice watching her attitude give her consequences that actually affect her. One thing I've come to understand over the years of working this job and reading these stories is I think there's a certain amount of people who, whenever they spend money on a service, in their mind they're paying for the service, but they're also buying the right or the privilege to talk down to the person. And they see it as some grand opportunity. Ooh, I get to talk down to this poor person and make them feel like they're less than me, which makes me feel superior. Our next Reddit post is from Mr. Coco. So this happened last week, but I still think about it sometimes and feel both secondhand rage and pity. A new guy joined my team at the start of last month, Sam. Sam is a quiet guy, early 30s, polite to a fault, always looking over his shoulder like he's about to get in trouble. At first I thought that he was just shy, but within a week I figured something was off. He'd get these phone calls every 30 minutes, like clockwork. Eventually, I asked him if everything was okay. That's when he admitted it was his mother. She needed to know what he was doing at all times. Like literally, where are you sitting? What are you eating? Who are you talking to? Type updates. He said that he was raised that way and just never broke the habit. I could see him shrink into himself every time she called, like the life got sucked out of him in real time. Anyway, it's the month end, and we had to stay back late to wrap up some department reporting. Everyone stayed a couple of hours. It was quiet, we were all working, and suddenly Sam's phone rings again. He steps outside. 2 minutes later, he comes back inside looking white as a sheet and says, "OP, my mom wants to speak to you." I thought that he was joking. He wasn't. He looked like he was about to cry. I took the call out of sheer disbelief. And oh boy, I wish I hadn't. This woman unleashed on me. "How dare you make my son work past office hours? He needs to come home and rest. You don't know what he's been through. Don't you know how dangerous the roads are?" I was too stunned to even respond properly. I just said, "Ma'am, I think Sam can explain the situation better," and handed the phone back. And that's when something amazing happened. Sam finally snapped. He didn't yell, but his voice was steady. "I need this job, Mom. You can't keep doing this. I'm staying late because that's my responsibility, and everyone is here too. Please just stop." It was quiet for a second, and then he just ended the call. Honestly, I was proud of him. I know how hard it is to stand up to your parents, especially when they tried to control you your whole life. We wrapped up an hour later. I offered to take him out for a cold drink just to decompress, and he looked like someone who had finally removed a 20-year-old weight off his chest. But when I dropped him off near his house, he gave me a small, awkward smile and just said, "Thanks. Tonight's gonna be rough." I haven't heard his mom's voice since then, but he still gets those calls, just less frequently now. I really hope he makes it out okay. Some cages don't even have bars, you just carry them in your head. Our next Reddit post is from Aggressive Bite. My wife and I bought our house along with the empty lot between us and the neighbors. It was surveyed and boundary markers were placed. A couple of weeks after moving in, I go outside to find the boundary markers removed. I'd taken pictures, so it's not the end of the world. A few weeks later, I go outside at about 8 a.m. to find my neighbor clearing the back of my empty lot with some bobcat thing. There was a lilac bush back there and a few small trees. I told him to stop. He did, but a lot of the damage had already been done. My wife and I decided to try to make the best of it, so we put down a couple of $100 worth of native wildflower seeds. We talked about doing something like that at some point anyway. A couple days after putting down the seed, I run to the gas station. I'm not even gone 15 minutes. When I return, the neighbors are out there putting grass seed and straw down where we just put the wildflower seed. I lost it. I asked them what the hell they thought they were doing. They said they thought that it would look better and we should thank them for the improvements. They also let their giant horse dog use our yard as a toilet and tried to turn the back of our yard into a circle drive for their giant trucks. They are insufferable. We've been saving money for some work that needs to be done on our house, but because of them, we had to drop $2,500 on chain link fencing, and I've spent the last few weeks putting that up when I can. I'm tired and just needed to vent. Down in the comments, people are putting out tree law because thanks to these oh so kind and thoughtful neighbors, OP could be getting a 5-figure or 6-figure payout thanks to these lovely neighbors. Our next Reddit post is from Billerco. I was just in a Dunkin' Donuts, got my donut and a drink. A woman storms in wanting a manager because they just got her breakfast wrong. All she had with her is a receipt in her hand. She's going on and on about how they always do this to her, and she's gonna call corporate. The woman at the register motions for her coworker to come over, an older gentleman. I notice that she doesn't have her food. I'm thinking, if they got the order wrong, why not just bring it in and show the mistake? Before the gentleman can say anything to the woman, she goes on a tirade about the horrible service. I noticed her receipt because in her ranting and raving, she turned it towards me. The gentleman asked to see her receipt, and she gets angrier, saying she's holding it and will call corporate about how they have useless employees. The gentleman asks where the food is. She doesn't answer, but continues her rant about how they're horrible. I take a look at her receipt that's still facing me, so I ask her a very important question. "Ma'am, do you know the name of this place?" "Of course I do, so shut up." "Well, I don't think you do. This is a Dunkin' Donuts and your receipt says Home Depot." She scoffed, crumpled up the receipt, threw it towards the gentleman, and stormed out. He looks at the receipt and laughs. He tells his coworker it really is from Home Depot, but from last month. I've been in retail and customer service for going on 20 years. At my job, people do this all the time with returns for items they claim they purchased and forgot the receipt. Some have a receipt, but it's from a different place. When I finished my donut and walked to my car, the woman gave me the finger while driving away. I'm glad someone thinks that I'm number one. I like this top comment from Richard FR. She has a point. The food at Home Depot stinks.
That was rSlash Entitled People, and if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.